Yeah, how much for you a measuring stick was returning in that first game, and do you feel like you felt perfectly fine right away, or do you feel like you'll need more time before you get back into things?
I mean, I felt pretty good physically. I think also, like, just reflecting back on the game, I think there's still a lot of different things that I could have done better personally, and we could have done better as a group too. And I think that's kind of how Steph challenged us when we came here yesterday and got ready to practice. There's, still so many areas for us to grow, I think, especially defensively. And also offensively too. Obviously we had a really good day shooting the ball, but it's not going to be like that every single night. So I think me personally still felt really good, but it's going to be continue to stack those games and be consistent in it.
Hi, Caitlin. Your sneakers with that adorable picture of your dog Bella on the insoles. Can you just explain how that idea came about?
Yeah. Honestly, Nike asked me kind of what I want to do with some of the Kobe's that I wear throughout the season, and my dog is really important to me. It's my childhood dog that I grew up with. So the shoe was basically all golden, and obviously the tongue of the shoe was pink for a golden retriever or any dog really. But and then on the sock liner of my shoe was a picture of my dog. A lot of my teammates thought it was some random graphic I found on the internet, but it was actually my dog. But yeah, they're cute, and it kind of makes it fun when they're a little more personal to you, and it makes it fun to get to put them on and go out and play in them.
Hi, Caitlin. Steph today was talking about how this whole experience has been a good opportunity for you to learn how to recover and do activation as a pro. So I was just curious whether or not it was coming back from injury or now that you're just trying to stay on top of things. What have you learned about what that recovery looks like for you and just how to take care of your body?
Yeah, I mean, I've never really been in this position before, so it's a lot of learning for sure. I think just, going forward, trying to be proactive as I can and, not let anything pop up. And even if I feel great, still going in and getting treatment is really important. I think that's the best thing that I can do. And, there's going to be little things that pop up throughout the season. And, that's just how it is being a pro, but it's your job to take care of yourself. And, I've tried a lot of different things that recovery-wise, and you kind of find what works for you. Everybody's going to be a little bit different, and then just stay consistent in that. And you look at our schedule coming up, and it gets pretty gruesome pretty fast. It's basically game practice for about 3 weeks straight, and really honestly till All-Star we have a heck of a schedule. So it's going to be really important for myself to continue to stay healthy, and because I know my team needs me. So I think more than anything is just be proactive now that I am starting to feel a lot better.
The things that work well for you that you found, what are some of the ones that you go to?
I mean, I've tried just about everything. There's needling, there's hot tubbing, there's massages, there's hyperbaric chamber. I think, mixing it up also and using a bunch of different things. Half the time I don't even really know what the trainer's using, but it works. So, I kind of just trust them and lean on them, and, whatever we find works for me, we continue to be consistent in that. And like I said, just be proactive and get ahead of things rather than just letting things linger.
Hi, Kathleen.
Hello.
Alessandro Mamoli from Sky Sport Italy. I know that you have Italian roots
Yeah.
from your mom's side.
Yeah, my mom's side.
Yeah, I'm wondering what do you know about, I don't know, where she's from or she's family is from, something like that.
Oh, they're gonna be
If
so
you do know.
My grandfather's actually coming tonight, so you can go talk to him. I think northern Italy, but actually I was just talking with some of my teammates about this. I was like, I didn't really get much of the Italian genes, but if you look at my two brothers, they have more darker complexion, they have the very thick, curly brown hair. I didn't really get that. I got my other grandmother from England, so but yeah, I mean, I certainly have Italian roots. My great-grandfather owned a pub on the south side of Des Moines, and there's a couple pictures that my mom has, and my grandfather and my grandma have, and he's just like a big old Italian man, made hamburgers, he was just, who knows what else he really did, but he was just a good guy. But yeah, Italian is also my favorite food. I've been lucky enough to go to Italy before, but northern Italy I'm pretty sure, but you can go ask my grandfather, he'll probably give you the rundown.
Okay, show me where we eat.
Okay, I think he'll be, we're close to behind the bench, so look in that area.
Yes. Hi, Caitlin. Apologies if you've been asked this ad nauseum, but at least at one point during your recovery, I was watching the Washington Mystics game. You had a sheet of paper, and I was wondering if you were taking notes, if that was a score sheet, what was on that paper, and besides learning how to like recover your body, did you learn something about the team while you were just watching?
Yeah, I mean, I was mostly tracking like offensive possessions for us, and you know, whether we scored or whether it was an empty possession, whether that's a turnover, whether it's a bad shot, whatever that is. And I think as a point guard, it gave me an opportunity to learn. And obviously, I was aware of this before, but I think sitting on the bench gives you a different perspective of the sequence of a game is really important. You know, for example, even though I made 3 threes in a row early in that first quarter this past Saturday, like I come down and I shoot another one when we probably could have got a 2 for 1, maybe 3 seconds prior, and then I come back down and I'm not aware of the clock and I turn the ball over. So it's just those little things that you watch that you have to be aware of like sequence wise, and you know, you don't want a turnover and then you come back down the next possession, another turnover or a bad shot. You got to be able to, as a point guard, be able to process and understand what happened prior, and you know, the next possession, know you need to help your team get a really good shot or things like that. So I think that's the biggest thing. It kind of helped me process from the sideline is you can really just digest the game in a different manner. Obviously, when you're on the court, it's so fast and there's so many different things I'm trying to read. I'm trying to read my post player. I'm trying to read the defense, all of that. But from the side, I think you can really understand how the game flows and what your team really needs in that moment.
Last one, Scott.
Kayla, with such a disruptive start, what do you feel like this team needs? And what I mean by that too is you go on a road trip. In what ways can that be beneficial, even maybe just because of the newcomers and so many of you been in and out of the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, there's no excuses for, you know, how it started. You know, obviously we would have loved to be healthier. We would have loved to maybe play a little better in certain games, but also I think that's like an opportunity for us to really grow and learn a lot about this group. And, you know, I think at the end of the year, we're going to really look back on the beginning of the season and be really thankful for it. And, you know, it's going to show us a lot of areas where we can grow and how we could get better, and also things that we did well and will continue to do. But I think this, you know, 3-game road trip after this game is going to be really important for us, and I think it honestly starts tonight. We need to come out here and have a dominant performance and play really well. You know, these are the kind of games where you play really well and beat one of the top teams in the league, and then you play a couple days later and you can kind of have a letdown. So you have to come out and continue to have the same energy that we had on Saturday, and then take that into the road trip and hopefully just find some consistency, especially in the way we rotate and sub players, and just being able to keep everybody healthy. Obviously, there's only so much of that you can control, but I think that'll be really important for us, and just find some consistency overall, offensively and defensively.
Cool. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.